It is a crazy weather night in severe weatherland. We have quite a number of severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings up from areas from northeast Texas to the lower portion of Lake Michigan. We're going to go through all of this. Got some showers locally on the radar as well in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. So we're going to get right to it. We are tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And we appreciate always those of you who support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping our referral link to Amazon, which is pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast. Just go to use that link to take you to Amazon, search and shop, and Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin for sending you there. It keeps the podcast commercial free. And thank you once again for those of you who have supported us by shopping on Amazon. So I was looking at, I'm going to bring it up right now. So let's see if I can find it. Okay, so that's that. So this is Tornado HQ. Here we go. And it's, all right. Now, right before the show started, Joe, about 5 minutes ago, there were 34 tornado warnings up. 34. It dropped to 22, and now it's back up to 27. We have 27 tornado warnings in play, and you can see them all, the boxes. They're basically one on top of the other. And 25 severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. The states that have the most are, let's see, Arkansas has 13, Illinois 14, Missouri 10, Illinois now 15, Missouri 11, and Tennessee 6. These numbers update. There's a new tornado warning now up to 29 tornado warnings. I haven't really looked specifically to anyone to see if their radar is showing tornadoes or if they're saying that there's an actual confirmed tornado. I'm going to skim through those while you take us there on the radars tonight.
Well, absolutely. And we may be looking at, we may be looking at the beginnings of what will go down as a historic night in terms of activity, thunderstorm and tornadic activity. I'm going to share the screen right now, and we're going to kick things off with the radar out of Little Rock, Arkansas. And you can see that Little Rock, right in the middle of the radar scan here, is getting hit rather hard, I would assume. The areas of orange and deep shades of red, indicative of moderate to heavy showery rains, and also the potential for thunderstorms with damaging winds. Let me point out that, and I know I'm jumping ahead of the game here, Joe, but I want to point out that across a slice of eastern Arkansas, also extreme southeastern Missouri, and other locations to the north and east of there, the risk for tornadic activity, well, the risk of severe weather is high, and the risk for tornadic activity, E2 to E5 type tornadoes, is also way up there in terms of probability. So this is one of those cases which really, again, is incredible. It's an amazing situation that has developed and is developing as I speak to you now. And again, you can see on the radar how the band of showers and heavy-duty thunderstorms rolling across the central part of Arkansas and moving again on a west to east course. Let's take a look now. That was the Little Rock radar. We're going to go to the north and east.
By the way, there were a couple of the tornado warnings that were. I was looking at the descriptions of them. There's one near the Missouri border in northeastern Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, in that line, moving at 70 miles an hour. And that wasn't the only one. There were a few of them on there that were moving at 60 to 70 miles an hour.
And we've spoken before, at least in terms of tropical cyclones, how hurricanes can be more potent than what is indicated in their central pressure and also their sustained winds near the eye of the storm, they can be even more potent if they are fast moving. The forward speed, if you're in the path of a hurricane where the forward speed is something like 20, 30, 40 miles an hour, that could do even greater damage. I'm sure that with a severe thunderstorm moving at the speed that you just quoted, that too is going to produce uh, probably cataclysmic, dare I say that word, cataclysmic damage.
Well,
And the potential exists, high potential for damaging straight line winds, tornadic activity. This is the view from Paducah, Kentucky. And you can see, Joe, we just talking about, or you were just talking about the southeastern part of Missouri and extreme northeastern Arkansas. And there's that line of heavy duty activity moving through into northeastern Arkansas, now passing across eastern and southeastern Missouri, on up into Illinois.
yeah, they're getting clobbered in Arkansas. There's now 24 tornado warnings that are up, including one. This one just came up just now in Arkansas, Jackson and Woodruff counties. A severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located over Tupelo, or 10 miles northeast of Augusta, moving northeast at 50. Now, there's one that was issued, um, about, let's see, 6:30, about 6 minutes ago. And they said a confirm. This is again also this is on the Arkansas and Missouri line. Craighead, Mississippi, Poinsett, Dunklin, and Penobscot counties. I think that's how you say it. Pemscott. A confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located near Bay, moving northeast at 40 miles an hour. So that might be, I bet, we won't know until, later, but that might be uh, more than just a simple EF1. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and the worst, to me, I think the worst part about this whole thing for people who are living in this region is the fact that the sun is now going down, it is getting dark, and the worst thing that you possibly would want to have happen. I mean, you'd like to see what's coming your way, stepping outside, but now it's getting dark, and now you're going to have to deal with this activity under the cover of darkness. That has to be the most frightening situation that you could possibly imagine. So as I said, right now you can see the main line moving from central sections of Illinois down into southeastern Missouri and into northeastern Arkansas. There are also places that are not associated with the line. Here, for example, in western sections of Tennessee, moving on up to western sections of Kentucky, is a couple of rather hefty clusters of showers and storms, which are moving again on that southwest to northeast trajectory. Let me go further north now. Let's go up and
Yeah,
see what.
there we have another tornado warning in Arkansas Crittenden, Lee, Phillips, and St. Francis counties. Well, that was easy enough. Um, and that's located near Holly Grove or 10 miles east of Clarendon in Arkansas, moving northeast at 45. We have 46 working severe weather warnings, 25 tornado warnings, 21 severe thunderstorm warnings as of 7:45. I'm sorry, yeah, as of 7:45 p.m. Eastern time.
Wow, this is incredible. Well, this is the view from Lincoln, Illinois. The radar again right in the middle of your screen there, but you can see how this line is crossing through central and southern sections of Illinois, and now moving toward Indiana. And again, wherever you see the areas of angry red, look at it. Look at this area right down here, right in this zone where my cursor is. I
Uh,
mean, that is a potential. I don't know. I'm sure that we're going to be getting reports from down here of tornadic activity, a lot of damage that will be taking place. This whole area again moving or progressing to the east. And you heard Joe mention one particular cell of heavy precipitation moving along at 70 miles per hour. I want to go to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is here. They're going to be next on the hit parade. At the moment, most of Indiana, not seeing much, except now in the final few frames of the loop, you can see a part of that line moving through northwestern Indiana. And Indianapolis itself looks like it's right in the path, or right in the area where this line of moderate to heavy activity, is moving in their direction. So again, this is all taking place as we speak to you now at 7:47 p.m. If you're watching this on a delay, if you're watching this later on Wednesday evening, take note of the fact that this is all happening 7:47 Eastern Daylight Time. Joe mentioned the fact that this goes all the way up to the lower Great Lakes. So why don't we see what's going on in the lower peninsula of Michigan? You could see one area of just moderate shower or rain activity occurring. And here is the line containing what potentially may have the damaging winds and tornadic activity, now moving into the southwestern corner of Michigan, the lower peninsula of Michigan. And again, that is all progressing rapidly along to the east. So literally, this goes from the Great Lakes all the way down toward the Gulf Coast. And it, again, as you saw, contains some very potent shower and thunderstorms which have the potential to produce anywhere from like EF2 to maybe EF4 or 5 type tornadoes. So this is an area that sadly, I think on the national news either tomorrow morning or during the day tomorrow, we're going to be seeing pictures of numerous homes that are going to be damaged or destroyed, and hopefully we will not have any word of any major number of fatalities. Although, again, this is a kind of situation where if you're in the direct path and you don't move or you don't find a way to get out of the way, you may be putting yourself in very serious jeopardy.
Want to just check some of the showers that are up by you?
Yes, we could do that. Relatively speaking, we're looking at a rather modest area. Now, what you're seeing here, a lot of what you're seeing here is not reaching the ground. Whatever is reaching the ground, now here in Putnam County, for example, we've had maybe a few drops. That's about all. It may look, the bark is worse than its bite. But this is the first band of activity associated actually with the line that we're seeing out in the Midwest. We'll be seeing more activity coming our way in the after midnight hours. In fact, if we go to, let's say, the Binghamton radar, hello, Binghamton, are you there? No, I guess not. Binghamton is not available. Let me look over here to Pittsburgh, and you can see that some activity moving across central Pennsylvania. There's other activity moving in from Ohio into western sections of Pennsylvania. So we'll be seeing what few showers there are now in the tri-state area slowly build in the after midnight hours. And then tomorrow, as that line of heavy precipitation, that line of showery and thundery weather out of the Midwest moves in, we here in the New York area will be probably seeing some showers and maybe a bit of convection as well. That'll linger until about, I would say 3, 4, 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Then that'll move out. And the one day out of the next 3 or 4 coming up, the one day that we could look for at least some semi-decent weather will be Friday. After a morning shower Friday, the sun may actually come out for a while Friday afternoon. Temperatures will be on the mild side in the 60s. Enjoy that because, Joe, as I see it, it looks like if it's not a washout, it's going to be pretty close to a washout of a weekend coming up Saturday and Sunday. And the interesting thing about the weekend, rain or showers for Saturday, temps only in the chilly 40s, unseasonably chilly. And then we go into a warm sector. A warm front will move through Saturday night. And on Sunday, we will have temperatures in the 60s, but we'll also have more in the way of showery conditions on Sunday, along with a bit of convection and maybe a thunderstorm. That'll finish out the weekend. And then, and we were talking about this on our Weather Legends show earlier today with Rich Von Olin and Bill Corbell, this has been an incredibly windy winter and early spring. And it looks to me, Joe, like when we get to early next week, it'll dry out, it'll clear out, it'll turn chillier again, But also, it looks like once again we're going to be going into a pattern of blustery or windy conditions, probably from Monday and on into Tuesday. So, as I said, if you want to hang your hat on one decent or semi decent day to do anything out of doors, that day is probably going to be Friday. Again, showers and storms tomorrow. A drier day with some sunshine on Friday, then rainy, chilly, wet for Saturday, showery, possibly thundery and mild on Sunday, and then clearing but windy and turning chillier again for Monday and Tuesday of next week.
I just got three new tornado warnings. Two in Illinois, Clark, Coles, Edgar, and Marion counties in Illinois. It's a 7:52 p.m. Eastern time on this Wednesday night. And this one, Joe, just came out. This is for Alexander, Union, Cape Girardeau, and Scott counties in Missouri and in Illinois. A confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado was located over Dutchtown or near Chaffee, not to be confused with Chaffee,
Yeah.
moving northeast at 50. This storm has produced damage near Delta, and they got an exclamation point on that. I want to just take a look at the actual warning because they sometimes they'll say something specific on there. Um, okay, I can't for some reason I can't pull up the. Usually it says see full warning. There you go. I'm sorry. Um, so this is a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado near Dutchtown. Uh, this is a particularly dangerous situation. Uh, tornado, just giving the locations. The one of the other tornado warnings that I looked at, the one in Arkansas actually said this one says it's a weather spotter confirmed tornado. So it's not just off the radar. Somebody's actually seeing this. So and there's going to be more. There's going to be a lot more before the night is done, and there's more severe weather coming in the next 2 days, which we'll get to momentarily. But if you look at the watches and warnings map, the yellow is all the areas that are under tornado watches right now, and oftentimes on this particular map, I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger. If there's a tornado warning in play, you have to really kind of strain yourself to see the little red spot because we're talking a small scale event. It might only be one county. It might be a very small county, but the reddish orange boxes that indicate tornado warnings stand out like a sore thumb on the map tonight. You can see the cluster in northeastern Arkansas, the other cluster in southeast Missouri, and going over to the Illinois side in southern Illinois, and then a few other tornado warnings up further north into Illinois. We also have a host of flash flood warnings that are up as well in areas down in central and western Arkansas and even into southeast Oklahoma. And flash flood watches are up all the way into Ohio. Uh, Usually in April, if you're going to see a big severe weather outbreak, it's because you have a really strong low somewhere and cold air, and that cold air is playing out in the Dakotas and parts of the Dakotas and into northern Minnesota, where we have winter storm warnings up for heavy snow. We have also winter weather advisories up for northeastern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, because we're doing one of these warm front cold front combinations here, and there's cold enough air in northern New England and in northeastern New York for there to be some snow. Also, a few winter weather advisories up into north central and northwestern Montana. But the severe weather really is what's front and center. And here's a view. You can see all the lightning strikes here. I'm going to just freshen this up, and this way we'll see the latest frames. I mean, look at all these lightning strikes. Running all the way up into southwestern Michigan, all the way down into northeastern Texas. And these cells individually are just flying along, as we said, at 50, 60, and even 70 miles an hour. And there is a renegade cluster that broke out ahead of it that moved over northern Mississippi and into western Tennessee. You pointed that out. And here's what it looks like on the whole wide shot. You see where the thunderstorms just stand out like a sore thumb, and so do all the warning boxes that are up. In the Northeast, you can see the precip there. Uh, the stuff that's moving over eastern Pennsylvania and into northern New Jersey. When it was in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania, it was a fairly well-developed area of heavy rain and thunderstorms. It just weakened as it moved eastward, but we see some heavier bands of precip rain up along I-90, and then it turns to snow in northeastern New York, and there's some snow now on the radar moving through Vermont into New Hampshire and western portions of Maine. Also, you can see on the other side in the Dakotas and into northern Minnesota. And you can also see the rotation. So we're talking about a strong system here. That's all snow that's going to continue as the low slowly moves its way northeastward up to the Canada side of Lake Superior eventually. And a lot of patchy precip mountain snows and valley rains all throughout the West. It's not everywhere, but there are some concentrations in Utah and in Arizona, also in parts of the northern Rockies. All right, the Storm Prediction Center, they went to a high risk yesterday evening, and they still have a high risk indicated in that area. It's playing out right according to forecasts. And the moderate risk goes down to the Louisiana state line and goes up into central Indiana and south central Illinois. The tornado risk, 30% to correspond with that high risk zone. And then there's a larger 15% area. Obviously, these tornadoes are verifying according to what the SPC folks have highlighted. And another very good job from them, by the way, picking up on this in the long range. The period now from Thursday into Friday, we have a marginal risk that extends into Connecticut and Long Island and the Hudson Valley, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, down to Maryland and Delaware, and of course becomes a slight risk from south central Pennsylvania and central Maryland, west southwestward down through West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and you see there's an enhanced risk being indicated from northeast Texas to western Tennessee for tomorrow. And that area also comes with a 10% hatched area tornado risk, the possibility of EF2 and EF5 tornadoes. We've got the 2% risk pushing up through New Jersey and into eastern Pennsylvania for day 3. So uh, this is Friday into Saturday. Again, same area that's getting hit tonight is going to get hit again with an enhanced risk over Arkansas, northeastern parts of Texas, into southernmost Missouri. The slight risk pushes up into southern Illinois and southwest Indiana. And on the other side, it pushes down into south central Texas. There's no tornado risk on the day 3. We'll see what they do with this tomorrow. Day 4 has it's a little further east and south on day 4. Southeastern Arkansas, the northern half of Louisiana, central and northern Mississippi to the Tennessee state line in an implied enhanced risk, and the slight risk pushing up into Kentucky. Day 5, this is Sunday into Monday, almost to me, 15% slight risk for much of Alabama and much of the state of Georgia for Sunday. So very busy next several days. And I want to also point out that WPC has a moderate risk of flash flooding across much of Arkansas, western Tennessee, into western Kentucky for tonight into tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow, they've got a high risk in virtually the same area, uh, cutting across the middle of Arkansas, western Tennessee, northeastern Arkansas, southwest Kentucky, all under a high risk, 70% probability of flash flooding, and the slight risk pushing up into Ohio. This is for Thursday into Friday, and they do have a Friday into Saturday. And
You
there
know,
we
that
go.
Joe, the convective outlook. There's a slice of eastern Arkansas that is in the high risk area tonight and is in the enhanced zone for day 2 tomorrow, day 3 Friday, and day 4 Saturday. That is
They
that is totally unblanking believable.
they
I
are
can't.
not going to be. Yeah, they're. This is a really crazy. We were talking on when we were doing the Legends podcast today uh, about we've seen in the last several years some crazy things happen. And this is another one. This is pretty to have severe. Usually fronts are moving along. Okay, sometimes they do stall out, and usually when they do, rain is the big deal. Less in the way of widespread severe weather, but to have it, severe weather risks sitting over one or two particular states for 4 days is just nuts. It really is.
It is. It's crazy. And on top of that, as you just pointed out, for the flooding, excessive rainfall, moderate, and then tomorrow high. I mean,
Right.
it's not high. Excuse me. It wasn't high,
Yeah, no,
right? I'm getting.
tomorrow's high. Tomorrow's high in Arkansas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Folks, so much of this is just like melding into one day after another. It's hard to dissect or compute here.
Oh,
It's
I
unbelievable.
understand.
It's unfriggin' believable. Sorry if I'm using that language, but you're right, Joe. We would talk about this with Bill Corbell and Rich Von earlier. Said that we're seeing things, recently that we have never seen in our entire, lengthy careers as forecasters, as meteorologists. This is an example.
Yeah, oh yeah. And as of 8:03 Eastern Time, we have 49 working warnings, 27 tornado warnings, 22 severe thunderstorm warnings. Usually it's the other way around. Usually you have more severe thunderstorm warnings than tornado warnings. Well, this time around we got the tornado warnings on top. Arkansas at the moment has 22 working warnings. Illinois 13, 3 in Indiana, 3 in Kentucky, 2 in Louisiana, 10 in Missouri, 5 in Tennessee, 2 in Texas, and 1 in Wisconsin. That's just weird.
Wow. Wow.
Wisconsin's kind of separated from everybody else. WPC's got now. This is doesn't count. Obviously, doesn't count anything that's fallen up until 8 o'clock tonight. So this is all after 8 o'clock tonight through 8 o'clock for the next 7 days. Over the next 3 or 4 days, we're looking at an area of 10 inches plus on top of what's already fallen. The brown area, the brownish area, is 7 to 10 inches from across much of central and northern Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, southern Indiana, western Kentucky, and western Tennessee. So we're talking about a lot, I mean, a ton of water. Up to 2.5 inches pushes into western Pennsylvania, an inch and a half to two liquid wise across upstate New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire. And where they're getting some of that as snow tonight. In between, it's about a half to 3/4. For some reason, they got an area of just less than a half an inch for southern New Jersey down into Delaware. Then it picks up again further south into North Carolina, and then across South Carolina, but particularly Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi to Louisiana. We're looking at an inch and a half to 2.5 inches, and then you push it up on the northern flank to northwest Mississippi. That's when you start to get into the 3, 4, and 5 inch rainfalls. I mean, it's really just nuts. And just to look at the upper air with this, I mean, look at that deep trough that's out in the west, with the upper low, a closed upper low over really sitting on the North Dakota Minnesota border. I mean, there's so much energy here, and you've got this really robust subtropical south southwest flow coming out of the Pacific and then going right up through the Mississippi Valley. We've got a nice ridge here in the eastern part of the United States, which has kept us mostly protected. And obviously, some of that moisture is moving over the top. But as we go along, if you'll notice, there's another trough here down from Nevada down to Baja, and that's going to push eastward as we go through tomorrow and Friday. The upper low in Minnesota goes up into Canada. the ridge in the east holds, and the trough in the west starts to drop southward and then gradually swinging eastward as we move through the weekend. Eventually, we do get the cold front to come through here in the east on Sunday, and then it's followed by a very deep trough here in the eastern part of the United States. It's going to bring uh, a robust shot of cold air and I'll call it cold air because it's probably going to be 10 degrees or so below normal for the uh, early part of next week.
Yeah, it's crazy. And on the chat board, um, Frank R. mentions that Saturday is the anniversary of the 1974. And we actually, if you remember, Joe, where we went to City College in the Weather Center, there was a big poster for several years referring to that as the super outbreak of tornado
Yes.
occurrence. That's the one where Xenia, Ohio, was literally wiped off the map. That's the one that Frank is mentioning, which held the record for years, is the deadliest on record for many years, affecting 13 states. And by the looks of what's happening now and what is to happen over the next 2 or 3 days, this event is going to make the '74 outbreak look like the Boston Tea Party. I mean, like, it's yeah, they had some storms in 1974. This is nothing like '74. This
I'm
is
gonna,
this really looks like a horrendously bad situation in terms of the amount of devastation, the amount of money that's going to be needed to be used to replenish or to bring back a lot of communities, and also hopefully, as I said, we will not see as many fatalities. We're much better at warning people now than we were back in 1974. But there's some people, even when they hear that there's a major storm coming or a tornado coming their way, I'm staying here. I've been here for 47 years. And unfortunately, that's what we end up learning about in the aftermath of these major events. It's
well,
incredible.
I was funny because I had a comment on one of my posts on Newsbreak, and somebody wrote, "I'll believe it when I see it," and I wrote back, by that time it'll be too late. You
Yes,
know,
exactly.
I mean, the stupid things some people say is just mind-boggling to me. So here's the European. You see the frontal activity just exploded this evening as the model picked up on it, obviously. The warm front in the northeast is moving through the northeast. Precipitation in northern New York and northern New England. Tomorrow could turn out to be a fairly warm day if the sun manages to break through the clouds. There might be some decent daytime heating. Now, the front's coming in an odd way. It's more northeast southwest. So it's actually going to be dropping southward as opposed to moving from west to east. So it'll be interesting to see what happens because the winds are going to bend more westerly as the front approaches, and that might help to keep the marine layer at bay, which is probably why SPC's got that risk area pushing into through Long Island and into Connecticut, and the European has a little bit of shower activity that goes through during the early morning hours, then a bit of a break, and then you get the storms forming along the frontal boundary during Thursday night into Friday morning, which pushes south, and then you've got the next developing low. You see it there coming out of Texas and moving up into the same place that this one's at, and there's a lead area of energy that moves out Friday night, and that's the severe weather for Friday and Friday night, and that runs the warm front that you said earlier is going to come through the northeast. So it kind of looks like it could be a gloomy, doomy type of day and chilly. And then we get into the warm sector again on Sunday, and then here comes a front pushing through with showers maybe in the afternoon and evening and perhaps a thunderstorm. And here comes colder air for early next week. And interestingly enough, there's because a ridge now is going to be building in the west next week, so the severe weather is going to shut down for a little bit anyhow. But we got a diving low that's coming southward. Models are kind of hinting that maybe we're going to have some kind of system in the Appalachians that's going to bring some heavy rains up the coast, perhaps for the latter part of next week. or maybe next weekend. We'll see if that holds true, because as we know, it has been the signature all winter long that anytime the models have tried to show anything along the East Coast, it has wound up being something far different than than how it is initially modeled. So
Right.
we'll view that with a bit of skepticism. The only positive you can come out of this, because we still got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Saturday for the areas that are getting hit tonight, dealing with this again, and then Sunday in the southeast, is that next week, with the upper air changing and the trough in the east and the more the ridging in the central and west, that the severe weather machine will take a break for a little while.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Yes, you would.
It's
Scott Brewer, the chairman, hit super chat. Thank you very much. Nice to see you on the chat board tonight. And yeah, there's a new weather legends, folks. So if you go to the YouTube weather legends page, you can watch the latest episode of weather legends. We talked about wildfires, so very interesting discussion. I got a little worked up over it. So anyway, um, so I have Briller Jeopardy tonight, right?
yes, you do.
Okay, so we're doing average April highs in the following cities. Are you ready?
I'm all set and ready to when you are.
Buffalo,
Buffalo. Buffalo.
Buffalo. As in
How about 40?
off we're going to shuffle.
Yeah. How about 48?
That's a little too low. It's a little too low. Kenneth Rosenberg, very close at 56. Um, Frank R, very close at 56. And Jason Fox with double nickels. Maggie P with double nickels. 55. 55, Joe. 55.
55. That's
Yes.
pretty good. That's interesting because I think, well, actually, in the Hudson Valley, I was thinking in terms of Hudson Valley average, if it's around 53. So I figured, well, it could be a little on the lower side. But, you win some, you lose
You
some.
lose some. Detroit.
All right. Well, if 55 in Buffalo, Detroit, I would think would be a little bit cooler. So why don't we say 52?
Too low, Joe. Too low.
Really?
Yes, too low. Um, let's see. Mike Waterhouse Bonsai, 59. He gets it. 59.
Let's give him a bell ring. There you go.
Chicago.
Chicago. Should I keep going the way I've been going tonight or
Well,
whatever?
let's just look at this. Let me remind you of the first two answers. Buffalo, 55.
Right.
Detroit, 59.
Right.
Chicago,
How about 57?
no, I was hoping you'd pick up on the uptrend there. Vincent Croce is close, as is Kenneth Rosenberg at 61, but Frank R gets it, and Michael McGuire gets it at 60. 60.
60.
Yes. Jacksonville, Florida.
I'll say 62. No, excuse me.
Right. Paul Roman,
uh,
thank you for hitting Super Chat tonight. Most appreciated. Thank you.
the
That's
true
right.
weather legends?
Promo Weather Legends.
I don't know. I don't feel like a legend. I feel like a more maybe a
Your
marquee
hair
legend.
is, Joe, your hair is legendary.
Yes, exactly.
Back to
Um,
back to Jacksonville.
back to Jacksonville. How about these are average highs in April?
Yeah.
How about 77? WABC.
It's a little low, but it's not too low. Michael McGuire at 80 is very close, but Rich Rothmansky nails it at 81. 81.
Hmm.
And the city that is not the capital of Kentucky, Louisville.
Louisville. How about for Louisville? I would say 70. 70.
Uh, 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 uh,
Excuse
uh,
me.
uh, 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 Don't finish that sentence. Just say it.
70.
Oh, Joe, what a great guess. Yes, and with no help. No help whatsoever.
Rich,
70. Give yourself a
Rich,
bell ring.
Rich Rotmansky also got 70 as well. So there you go.
And the sunob the sunob tonight, well, the bonus is Toronto.
Toronto. What was Detroit again?
Detroit was 59 and
And
Buffalo was 55.
all right. How about if I go 58?
Now, I would have kind of followed that logic, but you're actually too high.
Really?
Yes, it
Probably got
is
a wind off
the
of
wind
Lake
off the
Ontario.
lake. Yeah,
Yeah.
so let's see. All right, 40s are too low. Frank R., you're close at 53. Joe Gaffney of West Babylon, 52. Joe, 52. Give Joe a ring.
I'll give Joe a ring. I had the great pleasure of meeting Joe at a library talk out in North Babylon
Oh, you've known Joe for years.
back in 2019. That one's for you, Joe.
Yes, yes. One more check before we go. It is 8:17 Eastern Time. Just a quick update here. Let me just look at Tornado HQ and take a
And by
look
the
at.
way, if any of you have never been to Toronto, it's a wonderful city to visit. Was there for my honeymoon back in years ago, but love to get back there one day.
We're still off. We're off the peak, but still, we've got 47 working mornings, 23 tornado warnings, 24 severe thunderstorm warnings, uh, 19 in Arkansas, 13 in Illinois, 9 in Indiana, 4 in Kentucky, 2 in Louisiana, 2 in Michigan, 9 in Missouri, 4 in Tennessee, and 1 in Wisconsin. And the latest tornado warning was issued at 8 this is again, it's 8:18. This was issued at 8:15 Eastern Time in Arkansas, Columbia, Lafayette, Nevada, Union counties. A confirmed tornado near Canfield or 9 miles south of Stamps, Arkansas, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. So the busy night continues there. And unfortunately, if you, the folks in that area of the country, the Middle Mississippi Valley, you're going to have a few more days of this stuff, and throw in torrential flooding rains on top of that as well. So, all right, I think we can wrap it up. You all set?
Okay,
To, you all set to say goodbye?
I am all set, folks.
Yeah.
It's
Thanks for
Wednesday
watching
night.
tonight.
Tomorrow we'll be back. We'll be back on Thursday, and hope all of you will be back too.
Scott Briller and Paul Roman, thank you very much for the super chat hits, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Good night.